check out these clamps that Bessey sent me. They wanted me to try out their K Body Revos. It's a newer version of their original K Body clamp, which is a cabinet clamp, I guess people call them, but I've seen them used to great effect building newel posts and stuff like that, because they have these big square jaws that stay square from the bar all the way up. Also, they have a big thick bar, so it doesn't deflect or bend as much as like a pipe clamp does. So they just tend to hold things like really, really square. I have a couple from another brand, another maker, and they're great. But these are even better, I think. So they have a pretty rugged plastic wrapped body. This will keep all the nasty glue and everything from sticking to them, which is great. And it also keeps the rust off of your hands, which can get into your glue ups and stuff. I like the finish. This won't turn your glue ups black if it was to touch the glue or something like that as easily as something like a pipe clamp would. Yeah, they seem good like that. Nice big fat beefy handle that you can get 2 hands on if you need to. And the action on these things seems great. The other thing that I noticed about these is that this jaw won't fall down on your hand or onto the floor when you're messing around with a big glue up. Like, so you have this thing and you're trying to get it around a cabinet. This thing isn't always falling down on you. I don't think you can make it fall down. It doesn't fall down unless you've got the handle pulled out. And if you've got the handle pulled out, I'm sure you could do that and crush your fingers. But so you can make it go down, but it's not going to fall down on its own. There are these things, which are the bar protectors, and they keep your glue up off the bar of the clamp, and they just kind of pop on and off and go where you need them to. Like if you had say you're gluing up 3 pieces right here, you could take a bunch of them and have each one of your pieces supported, 1 board, 2 board, 3 board, right? Clamp it all down, and then you could tap against it or push against it and make sure everything's tight so all your seams are level. And these will keep everything off the bar, so you won't have it sticking to the clamp and making marks and stuff. Pretty clever. And then these things are also the right height, so they're supporting the clamp, so this jaw will still move. Like, they're not hanging down or up. They're the right height for what's happening here. Like, I'm sure you could put a clamp going this way onto this, and this thing's still going to move. They can also take these cool clamps that come with this corner clamp that I have some blocks taped to. This, on the corner clamp, these things work to hold a piece on, but they work on some of their other clamps too. So these little guys that are, just a C-clamp, they have a dowel end on them on the top, and that dowel will go through these things, right? So you can put it through here and then clamp onto a sheet of plywood. Whoops, I put that through wrong. Yeah, they fit in there firmly because you can clamp the whole clamp down to a sheet of plywood or sawhorse or to your bench or whatever. It won't clamp to my bench because it's too thick, but it's a really cool idea. I love that. I might try to modify something to give myself a deeper one so I could actually clamp them on this bench, but they'll work on a lot of other benches, as well as like cross supports and things that I put up. Okay, so these things also go in the ends of these, so you can clamp the clamp down in a couple places if you want to, which is, I think, really slick. Because sometimes you're wrestling with a big glue up and you keep pushing something and the clamps all roll over on you. And they're a lot less likely to do that with this big square head, but it can still happen. So you could clamp them down with some of those if you want. I thought that was really cool. So the other thing that they do is they stretch. So if you don't need a long clamp a lot, but you just need one sometimes, or a couple, 4 or 6 or something, and you need some, long clamps, they cost a lot of money and everything. It's a big investment to buy a bunch of nice clamps. You could get the size that you commonly need and join them together with one of these. So this is a K Body connector, which just uses these big heavy bolts and nuts, and they just come on and off hand thread, And they are machined to take the bar really well. So you can't drop it in, but you can slide it in. And you can take these jaws on and off really easy. So right now this thing's set up as a pusher. So this clamp can push or clamp. These guys just come right off and go right back on easy. So if you wanted to extend one, you take the bottom jaw completely off of one, so you have just the top part of the clamp. And then this one you turn around. And you could turn it around this way, so this is all still working together. You could turn it around that way too. So if you needed to go around something like that and do something weird like that, maybe, if you had to. Like if this was in the way of, I don't know, a wall, I don't know, something. You could go that way, or you could go that way. It's probably a little bit more typical on the bench. But if you were just stretching it to the bitter end, this handle will eventually hit there, but if you flipped it around and hung it off the bench. Anyway, so this thing goes in here, and this thing goes in here. It all works really easy. It's very, very simple. Bolt goes in there. Bolt goes in there, nut, washer. And you've got an extra super long clamp. I think this is really smart. This little plastic feet that are on here, that'll keep it off the work surface, so this jaw still slides easily, so you're not dealing with like a real sag or something like that. This thing could also be used to flipped around or whatever. A couple of these you could slide. Actually, let's see. I think this would work. If you had a bunch of these to go with all your K-clamps, you could use these on there too. Take the well-made stuff. You could throw these things on there. And this one would get the bolts. There it is. There's one. Right. Now these would fend your work off too. So you could, these look very useful. These K Body clamp extenders. I think that's what they're called. K Body extender. Yeah, they are really well built. Aluminum extrusion, precision made. And that is the Bessey K Body Revo. Really cool clamps. I'm excited to use them, to say the least. Oh yeah, and one more thing. I saw this on their website. These jaws are replaceable, so if you mess one up, you can take it off and replace it. Also, you can pop these off and slide other things onto them, like their angle clamp attachments, and there's a bunch of different things that these things can do. I don't know what this one does. These just lift off? I don't know. Yeah. That's just to keep the glue off, I guess. Or it's an extra, built-in extra, I guess. These will come off though. Yeah, pretty cool. All this stuff is really well made. K Body extenders are solid aluminum extrusions with these cool plastic caps. Big, nicely machined nuts and bolts that work easily, like for the worker who doesn't want to have to get a wrench out and mess around. They're just well done. Really well made. And then these little guys that go in into the bottoms of the stands and feet and stuff. These clips seem like they're like a really durable plastic. I don't know what kind of plastic, and they just pop on and off here, no problem. Really well made stuff. Jaws have these replaceable faces, which I think is pretty cool. And you know, nice beefy thread. This coated body, so it isn't like a big rust thing, you know. And they seem really well made, for sure. Time will tell, but I have some other Bessey stuff, and I really like it. So I'm sure this will be just more of the same. I believe they use their proprietary metal when they make these, so they should be really tough and not bend and stuff like that. There's these that go on the ends, and these just have a little fitting. Just push on. And they pop right back off again when you don't need them, but they should pretty much live on there when you're not doubling them up. These fit right in the ends, no problem. For clamping it to a workbench. And then this is without tightening them at all, and you can see there's very little deflection, maybe whatever, 1/4 of an inch or something, without any tightening. So these should work really well. Yeah, excited, very excited about these clamps. Thanks, Bessey.